Welcome everybody, my name is Eltimar and we are going to be re-beginning our Let's Play of Sunless Sea. I actually picked up the Zubmariner DLC and I wanted to see what it added to the game, which probably means some early game stuff as well, and I didn't want to sort of shortchange anyone in regards to the Zubmariner DLC. It is a fairly comprehensive DLC, so we're going to actually start a brand new game this time. Because I want to see what new things they added, and I know they added a new job in life, like what you want to do before retiring in the game, and I kind of want to take a look at it. So we're going to start brand new again. We're going to go through all of the stuff. If you've seen a lot of this, then we can probably skip some of the conversation, but a difference between these videos and the last ones is I'm going to just do fade cuts between the dialogue areas. I know that sailing around at Z is kind of boring sometimes when we're searching for islands, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to jump cut through those and just get to the really dialogue rich parts or combat parts for you guys, so that you can you don't have to sit and watch me traverse the Untersee, which can be a very long and arduous process. So 3 decades ago, in the reign of Victoria, London was stolen by bats. Now it lies a mile below the surface. It was dreadfully inconvenient for everyone, but it opened a vast black ocean to you. Welcome to the Untersee. We're going to choose a new past, or a past, I guess. We don't have a lot of choice. These are still the same. They're still the same 5, and they correspond to the 5 main stats. But we're going to choose poet this time. Educated and articulate, you seek sensation at sea. How lucky you had a legacy to spend. Your long-vanished father had a rich patron, it seems. This will give us a bonus to pages, the skill of trickery, and knowledge. Experience? You have intuition, and your friend, the sly navigator, he's a little vague, but he probably knows what he's doing. Perhaps you can find somebody better eventually. So we have to talk to the navigator, find out why he went to Z. We were a struggling poet, now we're a Z captain. We got 20 echoes, 25 pages, and 1 sly navigator. Somebody is looking for passage in port. What does winning mean to us? Now this is the new one, so there's 5 now as opposed to just the original 4. So the original ones were your father's bones, fulfillment, and wealth. You could also get Private Kingdom if you unlocked it later on in the game, but you need Impossible. This one was added in Zubmariner, and it's immortality. Eternal life sounds like something you'd enjoy. And it said that the presbyter, the ruler of the elder continent, has lived forever. We're going to go with that one, because it sounds really cool. Tall tales. The presbyterate guards its secrets fiercely, but amidst the clamor and beer stains of the blind helmsman, a salt-scarred navigator is telling tales of the continent's deepest interior, of a city called Nida, and the origin of the presbyter's long life. Where is he getting his information? Bring wine. He's susceptible to wine. You'll find the navigator and your first clue in London. What do we want to be addressed as? Just captain's fine. And who are we? We get to pick a picture. Like always, we're gonna pick a pipe captain. We're gonna call ourselves Eltimar again. So okay, so Zubmariner is different. How do you use your submarine? This tutorial will teach you how to make the most of your submarine. So we need to get our ship capable of submarine travel first. How to acquire a submarine? Her Majesty's Admiralty has sworn off submarine exploration. However, you've heard tales of an unofficial research into submarine travel being conducted in her distant colony. Let's click on that. Travel to the southern coast and follow it east to find Port Carnelian. There, you will learn how to convert your boat into a submarine. Be sure you're prepared for the journey. Guessing it's going to be tough. We have to go to the blind helmsman to do that, but first we're going to sell our book, because we don't really need it. What else can we learn about submarines? Okay, so we just have to find a submarine. I guess we'll remove the tutorial then. We don't need any more advice. We're good. We got it. The passenger. Agree to carry the nomadic Gallivant to the Cumaean Canal, or the Iron and Misery Plunging Station, or both. History is a horse. Who will prick it with their spurs? He cries to no one in particular. A drop of blood may be precious as ruby. Okay, we'll take him along. He wants to go to the Cumaean Canal and the Iron and Misery Plunging Station. He puffs out his chest. Ruby studs gleam in the lamplight. I knew London had enterprising souls still left in it. I'm seeking truths, Captain, which I am told I may find in the Iron and Misery Plunging Station and the Cumaean Canal. Ideally, I'd learn both, but I could settle for one. For at Port Cecil, there will be a contest, and we will change the world with a game of chess. A king will fall. So we have a passenger who wants to go 2 places, which is perfectly okay. Let's go to our lodgings. Let's see if anything is new here. It's the same news. It looks like, as always, the Khanate is threatening war. They always are. London's colonies on the Carnelian coast want independence. They always do. The Untersee, the paper's report, has undergone another alteration. Not yet, it hasn't. You would know. Oh, a promotional coupon from Miss Plenty's Provisioners for a half cask of salt herring. Use that. That is +1 supplies for us, which is good. And we're going to go back to the city. Let's go talk to the Admiralty, because we're going to want to know what they want us to do. The Admiralty picket fleets and intelligence networks are long gone. The survey office pays sea captains a small sum for recent information. Visit and investigate ports to gain port reports and trade them in here. The first time you trade in a port report, you will gain the Admiralty's favor. So what do they need in particular? They want strategic information from the Iron and Misery Company fudging station, which is good, because we're going there anyways, so perfect. And then they want port reports, so we can't really do much else. Let's see what else we can do in London. Usually, we can offer passage to a tomb colonist, which we will do again. It's oddly difficult to die in fallen London. But when a Londoner is too tatty and wretched to live, they wrap themselves in bandages and take a ship for the tomb colonies. Your crew cart these ones aboard in padded coffins. They will sleep there until the journey is done. They want to go to Venderbite, which is fair. We can hire on more crew, but we're sitting at 8 out of 10. That's good enough for now. We don't need to go to dry dock. We can't carouse because we apparently don't have a free day in London, which sucks. We can't go to the university because we don't have any secrets, and we don't have the antiquarian favors yet. Or no, we do have the antiquarian? Whatever. We need a secret first. Long story short. We're gonna go buy some fuel, because we need some. Like 12-ish should be good, and we'll grab some supplies, because we'll need some of those too. And now we're poor. We're like really poor. Alright, so we're ready to head out to sea. Now, as we know, there's a map, and we are in the eastern, sort of central western section of this wide, vast Untersee. We're also going to have to watch our terror a little bit more this time, because we had some terror problems last time. Learned some lessons from my first playthrough, and I'm really excited to see how this new one plays out. My boat seems to turn less. Maybe it's because I have a crappier engine. Whatever. We're going to head sort of westerly. Send out our Z-Bat. I'm guessing it's not going to see much, except maybe Hunter's Keep. There's something underwater some distance to the north. Oh, interesting. It tells you when things are underwater now, probably for the Zubmariner thing. Is this Hunter's Island? Yeah, it is. Hunter's Keep is usually very, very close to London. It's either usually sort of in the northeastern direction, or sometimes the southeastern direction. On occasion it's directly east. I think I've seen it directly east once, so that's fine. And so we're gonna just go right into port and grab a port report. And in we go. A quiet isle, a grand old house, a hump of dark rocks swathed in mist, like 100 other Untersee islands. We'll present ourselves at the house. A maid with smoldering topaz eyes shows you into the parlor, where 3 young women wait. Visitor, the youngest cries. The next youngest chuckles, the eldest sighs. Do excuse the indecorum, she says. Visitors are rare. You're very welcome. I am Cynthia. The noisy one is Phoebe. The cheerful one is Lucy. You're in good time for lunch. Will you join us? Yes. Yes, we will. We're gonna go for lunch with Phoebe. I think this time Phoebe is soft-voiced, watchful, and unpredictable. Phoebe has a story to tell of 2 lepers parted by water, of a raven that carried messages, of fragments of the moon. She beats time on the table as she speaks, as if to a song that only she can hear. The effect is hypnotic. Your attention drifts out through the skylight roof of the dining room to the false stars glittering in the roof of the cavern. You drift like a puffball spore. The Untersee shimmers below. Islands lie like mineral specimens on the black velvet. Ships bob like wood chips between the islands. Vast spined things pulse in the depths. There's a scent, like the scent before a storm. The storm came, says Phoebe quietly. Everything changed. Somewhere in there you finished the last course. The scowling maid reluctantly serves cheese and Bath Oliver biscuits. We lost some hunger, we got some supplies, we got our fragments unchanged, which kind of sucks. We got a memory of distant shore, and we are now acquainted with the Sisters of the Keep. Even when the sisters aren't feeling sociable, they can be tempted out of their lair by the smell of new stories, which is what we're going to do. You ask the self-ride maid to carry a few hints of your news to the sisters. Oddly enough, she comes back with a message that their headaches are cured and you are invited to lunch. So we can have lunch with Cynthia or Lucy. We've already done Phoebe, so we should do one of the other ones. Let's try Cynthia. Cynthia grasps your arm and whispers to you. Her eyes are wide and blue, her hair tangled and wild. Bats might nest in it. It seems to you that you are sitting on a hillside above a wide blue lake listening to a story of a murder, an axe, a net, blood on scented water. Another chop? Cynthia asks. You barely touched your food. Here, I'll have the maid wrap something up for you. You can't be hungry. It's not safe to be hungry. We got irons unchanged, which sucks, but whatever. We got a tale of terror, and we are now wary. We got 1 terror level, which is okay for now. And that is, I think, all we can do other than reconnoiter the island. Plunging cliffs, soft green lawns, a well tucked away in the folds of the grounds. Anything else? That is our port report. Ships rarely come here. Nothing changes, even the weather. The house is the heart of the isle, the house and the sisters, but the Admiralty might be happy to know that nothing's changed, at least. And now we can leave. And we're off. We need to go find the funging station. That is our first official goal of the game. We could go north to Venderbite. It doesn't change position. We know exactly where it is. It's going to be like right here-ish. But let's head out this direction. We're going to kind of watch our fuel supplies because that is usually what we run into problems with. We also have to watch our terror levels because terror is bad. If we get nightmares, that's never a good thing. We're also going so slow, it seems. But that's because we have a slow boat right now. So we're going to do a quick jump cut until we find something fun to do. Okay, while traveling around, we found a tooth-cracking treasure, a chunk of grit baked into your ship's biscuit. You crack the tooth and curse. Your crew chuckle, but when the object turns out to be a diamond, a small and badly flawed, but diamond nonetheless, they all hush. Diamonds are sacred to stone, one says. Give it to the Z, Captain. It'll be lucky for us. I'm not throwing into the Z. Are you out of your mind? The crew are disappointed, but diamonds are diamonds. And we found an island named Crab Cake, by the way. We also found Pigmote Island close by. So we're going to head to Pigmote Island and make camp there, but we'll be there in a couple seconds. Okay, we have arrived at Pigmote Island. We're going to dock here and do something. Our terror level is getting a little bit worrisome, but it's only 10. That's okay for now. Our fuel is at 9, so... On a lonely desert beach, there's no habitation in sight, no market, only old rotting dock. Let's disembark. Oh, a stretch of sand thickens into a damp black earth from which sprout stunted palms? Not quite. Tall fungal growths with frond-like caps, as if someone had sculpted the idea of a tree from a mushroom. War? As you step onto the quay, you hear clamor, shouts, and shooting. As you can see, off in the distance, smoke rising from beyond the hill, and dots of fire flecking the horizon. 2 tiny figures stand a little further down the quay, unmoving, as if awaiting your approach. The following is an extract from the popular diary of a Z captain from London to Irem, and what we did there before we arrived, washed ashore on Mutton Island, and subsequently serialized in the Unexpurgated Gazette. The author's identity remains unknown. This is a literary interlude. The tale of Pigmote Island, in which a delegation is made, a choice is presented, war is declared, a most singular treasure is sought by all, and a new empire is founded with tooth and claw. Chapter 1. The Delegation. The figures were rodents. To my left was a Rattus Faber, wearing goggles, a blacksmith's apron, and an assortment of tools. To my right, an unusually large guinea pig wearing a helmet and breastplate reminiscent of nothing so much as the High Middle Ages. The rat stepped forward first and bowed. Welcome, Captain, to Rat Star Island. I am Edgar, 2nd Chief Engineer of the 3rd Rat Brigade. I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost to you is a choice. The rat stepped back at precisely the same moment, with what appeared to be the ease of long habit. The guinea pig scuttled forward and made a declamatory chirp. Welcome, Captain, to the Isle of Cavia. I am Lady Augusta Devereux Swinch of the Blackwater Swinches, Seneschal to our King Grace-Na, first of his name. I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost to you is a choice. The two stood at attention, looking at me expectantly. I spoke to the chief engineer. His eyes had a wave-cold glint to them, and he wore his scars like jewels. I asked the chief engineer to elaborate. He looked at me for a long, measured moment before speaking gruffly. We came to this island to make a home for ourselves, far away from London, its cats and snuffers, its ratskin suits. We came to live as citizens of our own republic. We came with our tools, our teeth, our clever hands, and we made a beautiful city by the light of the rat star that shone bright and blue on Mount Ararat. Ararat. That's the one. The chief engineer nodded towards the distant hill. One day we braved the depths of the chicken woods, and from the top of Mount Ararat, we plucked the rat star to be our light, our beacon, but the pigs of Cavi saw the light, and they lusted for it. They sent armies to rule us and steal our star. We will not permit them to take what is ours. We will resist them to our last breath. Will you join us in defeating them? How about the Seneschal? How did an armored guinea pig manage to look so regal? The seneschal cleared her throat with a delicacy to rival Duchess's own before speaking. Grace-na, the king, our lord and sovereign, full 7 months had sojourned the sea, conquered this land, and won the southern main. Now no fortress against him shall remain. No city walls be left for him to gain, save the rats that squeak behind the mountain. Unlucky was the lamb of our deliverance, assured shall be our glories and their fall, when our lady's eye be restored to our hall. The seneschal composed herself, then added, We saw truth and beauty by the light of Our Lady's eye on Mount Caveat, but the rats with their guns and their chatter and their peasants' politics stole it from us. We will subjugate them and take it back. They are a rabble, and we will rule them with the steel-shod velvet of our paws. Will you join us? I had heard more than enough to make a choice. I was ready to make my decision. We could attempt to broker peace. We're pretty good at that, hopefully. Let's try to... I attempted to broker a peace. Surely their commonalities were more numerous than their differences. Perhaps I could get them to get along. My words helped them reach agreement. The chief engineer and seneschal shared a look, then regarded me with scornful amusement. Yes, smirked the chief engineer, you're obviously much cleverer than us. Oh, much, murmured the seneschal. You clearly know us much better than we know ourselves. Apparently idealism would not help here. Oh, darn. I favored the chief engineer, unfortunately. I like them more. You extend a finger to the chief engineer, who shook it grimly. The seneschal hissed and chattered her teeth in disgust, but kept her distance. You've made the right choice, said the chief engineer. Let me show you around. Oh, good lord. It's another story. The chief engineer led me to the northern side of the island, skirting the chicken woods. We passed through a number of what can only be termed checkpoints, as fierce-eyed rats shouldered their derringers and saluted the chief engineer. Soon we came across a small colony, smaller than some of the infestations I encountered in London flats. Perhaps only 50 Ratus Faber altogether, working diligently to fortify their side of the island. The first thing I noticed was a brilliant light beaming out from a stump of the chicken wood, about 6 feet high, and bathed the whole settlement in a clean blue glow, and was almost too bright to look at. By its light, I could see several raised mounds of earth suggesting shallow tunnels. An efficient fishing operation was set up by the water, an albino rat mending nets while others stabbed sharpened sticks into the waves. Further inland was a barracks where a sergeant barked orders at a small squadron of fighters. My arrival drew attention, and several rats paused their work to look at me curiously. Welcome to Marinia, says the chief engineer, voice warm with pride. It's not much to look at now, but it will be once we've rousted the cavies. Take a look around while I summon the war council. With that he vanished into the mounds and left me to explore. Take a closer look at the rat star. An excitable-looking rat was peering at it through smoky goggles, twitching her whiskers and making notes on what appeared to be real paper. It's not a star, of course, not really, but try explaining that to the others. The chief engineer doesn't want me working too hard to convince them. Says this is better for morale, but just look at it. Look. She offers me her goggles. I managed to work them over just enough of one of my eyes to see the truth of what she was studying. It was a scintillac, but unlike any I'd seen before, blue as a sapphire but more brilliant. Something about the clarity of its color was tremendously soothing. The chief science officer tittered with pleasure as I handed her goggles back. Those of us who have been to the Cavie side of the island and lived to tell of it say that there's plenty of glow there, plenty of bright in the water all around, but nothing like this. We took this from the island's center, Mount Ararat. Only it's not a mountain, of course, any more than this is a star. It's a hollow. There's sweet water inside and coral crawling up the walls of it, but nothing that glows save this. It's ours now, and no one can take it from us. The barracks. I approached the drill sergeant and went so far as to salute her, which earned me a grunt of satisfaction. The sergeant dismissed her troops and offered me a bit of chicken wood jerky to gnaw on. There's more of us below, she explained, but not enough. The cavies are bigger and there's more of them. We're better with weapons, but we haven't got the stuff to make 'em with. Most of us came here as stowaways and brought nothing but food, tools, and the fur on our backs. We can fish and we nibble the chicken woods, but we can't make guns out of trees. The cavies come with their own steamer and seem to have endless supplies. We raid 'em sometimes, but there's so few of us, and we can never hold onto territory gained for long. But that's of no consequence. All we want is to be left in peace, to build our republic, and the rat star, of course. She added thoughtfully after a moment. Of course we want that too. The beach. The albino rat smiled up at me from his mending work, looking dainty and a little shy. Chickenwood floats, especially when it's dried out and sealed, so we're able to paddle out a bit and cast our nets. We come up with all sorts of things, blind fish, crabs, sometimes a choke of broken tentacle, but the fishing would never be so good without the rat star, he beamed. I think it only draws good fish and keeps the scary ones at bay. I know that the chief science officer doesn't believe it, but I do. That light is our livelihood. And that's it. I finished my exploration. The bells of the War Council rang. I was summoned. The chief engineer emerged from the underground with a motley assortment of other rats. He introduced them as weapons experts, strategists, and field commanders. So you're gonna help us beat the cavies, he said, a hard edge to his voice, but how exactly? We just shoot them. Our iron is not very good, though, unfortunately. I determined to take the lead. I had a ship, I had cannons. We would steer her to the southern side of the island, and have at those uppity animals. That's a tough challenge. We'll try it anyways. Oh, we did it. Excellent. A palpable hit. The rats gave me what information they possessed about the Cavi settlement, but I still had to improvise a great deal on the spot. A perfect storm of speed, stealth, and strength in arms favored us, our cannons letting fly a volley of shot onto the beach before the Cavies could scramble onto their ground ship to man its guns. Screams and squeals filled the air. The enemy fled. A damp hush settled over my crew as the smoke cleared to reveal the torn, bloodied bodies of guinea pigs littering the shore. A grim business, but I had honored my commitment to the rats and found a wealth of scintillac ringing the beach to harvest as spoils. We got 3 scintillac. We have a bale of parable linen. We now have a new island, so their quality is troubled and they are conflicted, but their might quality is adequate, and we have Hail Marinia. Marinia is the new island. We're going to invite a rat to join us. After all, what's a ship without a few rats? We now have 1 albino tinkerer. They lost to civilization for that, but that's okay. The chief engineer couldn't leave his colony, but he relayed his request to his people. My request to his people. The albino rat I saw mending the nets shyly stepped forward. I'm good at fixing things, he said earnestly, and I'd like to see more of the world. I waited for him to gather up some effects and say goodbye to his family before accompanying him on board. We can try and help the cavies. Might as well. We could not forge peace, though. Darn. We'll worry about that later. A new nation has been founded, and we have a new port report. Time to leave this island, but in the next video. Like always, if you have any suggestions or comments, please leave them below. I will see you all next time. Take care.